the recent days, you must have definitely come across the term called emergency fund. But what exactly is emergency fund? Who should create it? How should you create it? Where should you invest the amount of money that you're keeping aside for emergency fund? All these details will be unlocked in this video. Hello and welcome to IndianMoney.com's YouTube channel. My name is Fayaz. In this video, let's understand the details of an emergency fund. But before that, let's understand what exactly is emergency fund. Emergency fund, as the name suggests, is the kind of money or the allocation of money that you're keeping aside for emergency or unforeseen situations. It can be a medical emergency, it can be any other repairs or any other unexpected expenses which might come across in your life. For that, you should definitely have some amount of money kept aside to ensure that your other financial goals, your other financial objectives are not getting tampered. For example, if you're saving for your retirement, you're saving for your dream car, you're saving for your dream house, etc. But let's just say that there is a medical emergency in your house, or maybe there is a job loss, or because of which you are not able to take care of your regular family expenses for a 2 or 3 month span. In that case, you should not compromise with your ultimate objectives or your financial goals. Ideally, what people do is that they liquidate all these investment options and then they take care of the regular expenses. But the entire concept of emergency fund is basically having something aside for unforeseen situations. So now you must be thinking that if at all I am having some money which I have saved aside for my long-term objectives, and even if I'm liquidating that money, what's the problem here, right? It's my money. I'll use it however I want. But understand this, if you're saving something for a long-term objective, then chances are that you might not be able to easily liquidate that kind of an investment option. And chances also are that you might have to face different kinds of penalties and charges. It can be pre-closure charges, it can be pre-exit charges, etc. Because of which chances are that you might end up paying a lot of money in the form of penalties. Why do you have to do that? You can definitely have an emergency fund aside for yourself so that you can take care of your difficult situations. Now, how do you plan for an emergency fund? The concept is very simple. So let's just say that you need 20,000 rupees to take care of your single month's expenses. It can be your rent, it can be your household expenses, it can be your grocery, etc. So ideally, it is suggested that an emergency fund should be kept aside for at least 3 months for a single individual. If you are a couple, you need to definitely have at least 6 months worth of money saved aside for an emergency. And if at all you are a person who's living with a family, like you, your spouse, your kids, or maybe your parents, you need to at least have 1 year worth of your money kept aside as emergency fund, which you probably require for your monthly expenses. So let's just say that you need 20,000 rupees. For an easy understanding, I'm giving the example of 20,000 rupees for your every single month expenses. So if you are a bachelor, if you are a person who is an individual, then you should definitely have at least 60,000 rupees worth of money kept aside as your emergency fund for 3 months expenses. Now, if you are a couple, you need to at least have for 6 months, which means 2 into 6 is equal to 1,20,000 rupees. And if you are a person who is here with your family, then you should definitely have 2,40,000 rupees worth of money kept aside as emergency fund. Now, how do you build that corpus? You can definitely not build it overnight. It is definitely impossible, especially for a middle class individual. So what you can do is every single month, if at all you're having any kind of SIPs, it can be in mutual funds, or if at all you're investing in any of the government-based schemes like the PPFs or NPS or your Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, etc. Similarly, keep aside some amount of money in the form of emergency fund or for your emergency fund. You can probably dedicate 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees based on your pocket, based on your spending or investing capacity for this ultimate objective of yours. You can definitely try and have a goal of filling this emergency corpus over a year's time. Now, the next question is where to invest your emergency fund. So emergency funds can be basically divided into 2 major categories: long-term emergency funds and short-term emergency funds. So let's just say in long-term, it can be any kind of medical emergency. It can be anything which probably you are expecting. So let's just say that there is an operation that's coming up in your family. There is any kind of other issues that you think that might trouble you in the upcoming days. Maybe you're planning to shift from your house, from this house to next house. So let's just say that you need to have some amount of money to give in the form of deposit, or let's just say that you're trying to start some new venture for which you want X amount of money kept aside. So this is something which will happen probably in the next 6, 7, 8 months. So let's just say you keep X amount of money allocated for your long-term emergency. And for short-term emergency, it can be something which probably you need in the span of less than 2 or 3 months. It can be any kind of household expenses. It can be any kind of repairs. It can be any other kind of service. It can be something which probably you are expecting to happen in the next 2 or 3 months. That can be kept aside for your short-term emergency fund. Now, where to invest your emergency fund? Let's just say that you need 1 lakh rupees worth of money to keep aside in the form of your emergency fund. So now you have to divide this 1 lakh rupees into 3 different chunks. So the first chunk can be an amount of 20,000 rupees, which you can keep aside in your home, in your locker itself, in the form of cash. Another 20,000 rupees, you can keep it in your bank account, in your savings bank account. So that can be something that you can easily access through ATM, through checkbooks, etc., or through net banking also. The last part of this entire chunk would be 60,000 rupees. Now this money you can invest in any of the liquid based investment options, liquid based mutual funds. So here again you can divide it into two major categories based on your short term emergency fund theory and long term emergency fund theory. So 30,000 rupees you can invest in something which is in the liquid asset category only, but the something that you can liquidate in the span of, let's just say, 5 to 6 months. So there chances are that you might be able to fetch decent interest rate for yourself. It can be as much as 6%. Even if you're investing in any kind of mutual fund options, then chances are that you will be able to get 6% returns for that 30,000 rupees. Now the remaining 30,000 rupees you have to invest in something which is like easily liquidable. So you can definitely try and invest in investment options which will give you, let's just say, 2 or 3% worth of amount of money. But the best part in investing in such options is that you will not be facing any kind of exit charges or pre-liquidation charges, etc., because of which you might end up losing some money. So all these kind of expenses are being taken care. So if at all you are able to channelize your funds properly, then chances are that you will be able to take better financial decisions and you will not be worried with regards to your short-term emergency, short-term commitments, and you will be definitely be able to focus better with regards to your long-term objectives. The entire concept of emergency fund is to ensure that you're not liquidating your long-term objectives for your short-term obligations or short-term issues. Now the last point over here is the redemption of emergency fund. So as the name suggests, redemption is basically the process of withdrawing your funds. So try and ensure that you're investing in the kind of options which will give you easy liquidity. There are some mutual fund options which might not be easily liquidable. For example, there are certain mutual funds which will take at least 48 hours or maybe 72 hours to reflect back in your bank account. The money that you have invested over there, the amount of money, if you at all you want it back in your bank account, it will at least take 3 to 4 days for you. But if at all you're investing in liquid based mutual funds, again you have to check it with respective banker or respective investment advisor. He will probably guide you better with regards to the kind of investment options which are available, which will give you easy liquidity option. And if at all you want to learn yourself with regards to the details of personal finance, career building, farming, business, you know which app to download. It's none other than the Financial Freedom app, which has been loved by more than 5 million Indians across. And they have definitely upgraded their financial game as well. And they have learned so many new and interesting concepts. And they are also learning every single day so many new and interesting aspects with regards to how they can grow their wealth better, how they can become a better financially independent individual. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends and family. Let us know your feedbacks and thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon as well so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. My name is Fayaz and you are watching IndianMoney.com's The Money Doctor. Get wise, break free.